Hello, Riley Brandon here, and I've got a Jim Carrey part 2 for you. So let's take a look at this video real quick.
When Man in the Moon came out, there was all this talk about the process that you went through when you became Andy Kaufman, essentially. Did you ever have it in the back of your mind back then that you wanted to share that story in this way that you're getting to do now?
Yeah, and I thought I had become Andy Kaufman, but there was no me actually at the end of it all. I realized that there was, that this character was making choices to play a character, and so that's what kind of happened, and that's what Chris found in this interview and in this footage, that there was actually a existential, not a crisis, but a discovery going on,
There's been a lot of talk in the last few days, well, today recently, about
a lot of people making sound over here.
So much of that.
That's right.
People talking about an interview that you did at New York Fashion Week, and you talked about identity, and all these ideas. Do you think that people kind of just don't understand it, or they haven't clued in to this whole thing you're talking about of people wearing masks?
I think that we're all trying to add things to ourselves so that we can finally define ourselves, and then everybody will get us and they'll go, okay, this is what you are. And then if you actually get there, you will find it so empty that you'll realize that's really not what it's about. It's about not only just going with the flow, but it's about not taking it personally. It's like the difference between a house and my house is a world of difference, and it's the my that's the problem. So you can do all this without the my involved. You can do it in a way that it's not, life isn't happening to you, it's happening for for the good of everyone. It's just it's a play. It's a giant field of consciousness dancing for itself, and you're here to make me happy, and it's making itself happy. It's like one soul. That's how I feel. I feel like people say, well, I have a soul. You don't have a soul. There's no you, but I feel like there is a soul, and it includes everything.
Yeah.
And when you wake up in the morning and you feel like I'm the universe, you don't have to reach for the stars. You can just let life happen.
Yeah.
And walk through the doors.
We'll have to wrap that. Sorry. Thanks very much.
I'm sorry, you've run out of time.
Well, listen, you've made me very happy, so thank you for your time today, man.
No, actually, I didn't make you happy.
Right. I don't know who you've made happy, but
no.
Yeah, so there's a lot there. I'm not going to get every bit of it. I just want to address some of the things that he emphasized. Several different things he emphasized. The identity of humanity. There is no identity. There's no me. There's no you. We're all just fields of consciousness dancing for ourselves. But so he's sort of contradicting himself in several different ways. But before we go down this rabbit hole, let's. I'm going to go to my notes here. Yeah, you're going to see my notes. I'm coming from notes here, but these are still my thoughts. These are my notes. I didn't pull this from anywhere else. This is when I see Jim Carrey and I listen to these videos. This is what I get. But he's a little more descriptive here. So therefore, I had to think about this a little bit more. And the thoughts were, because this conversation was so fragmented, my thoughts were a little bit fragmented. So I had to write them down so I didn't forget them. And so, here it is. Maybe this is a little lazy. And maybe I'm missing some of these things that Jim Carrey is speaking. I haven't watched real lengthy interviews, but when he talks like this, I have a hard time grasping it. And maybe I'm just missing it. Maybe my mind's not equipped or geared to catch what he's trying to say. And if you're watching this video and you're listening and you've got something I don't, write it in the comment section, please. Educate me, because I'm missing Jim Carrey. Now I am catching a few things, and I'm catching some things that I want to talk about here. So in the last video that I done on Jim Carrey, he was emphasizing the meaninglessness of everything. Yet in this video, he's giving us a little bit more to chew on. In this video, it's a little difficult to follow him, but he's emphasizing several times this idea of not having an identity. We're all just one big collective field of consciousness dancing for itself. he actually said at one point he feels like he feels. That's an indicator there. That's a red flag for anybody who's an analytical or an analytical thinker or a critical thinker. You know, Ben Shapiro likes to say facts don't care about feelings. This is kind of true. Truth is and truth isn't. Facts are or they're not, whether you feel like that or not. So, big red flag there. He feels like the world is one big soul. Is the world one big soul? That's the question. Not does it feel like it? Because, yeah, sometimes it does feel pretty arbitrary. I'll admit, and I'm a Christian saying that. But it's objective in its nature, and we know that. And you say, well, you know, that's what your Bible says, Riley. No, even scientists will tell you it's objective. The presupposition to every scientific theory has to be order. It has to be. It's predicated on the world, on the universe being orderly. That their theories are going to come about the same way every single time. Now, I'm not a scientist, so I can't give you much more than that right there. But that's one of the presuppositions to science. I think I'm saying that right, the presupposition. I don't think it's presupposition. It's one of the precursors to a scientific theory, to performing science. Things got to be orderly. And again, that's subjective. But yes, my Bible does say that. And so, and I observe that with my eyes. This is an objective, concrete universe. Because if you throw an apple up in the air, what happens? It comes back down every single time. 2 + 2 = 4 every single time. Okay, so is reality one big soul? Are we a collective nothingness? Are we one big soul without a personal identity? Well, before I answer those questions, I just want to say again, bravo to Jim Carrey for unashamedly expressing himself. I still believe he's a truth seeker on a path. I think he's lost. I do. But he's a truth seeker on a path, and he's telling it as he sees it. And I applaud that. And not only is he expressing himself as truthfully, I think, as he can, he's doing it in a very calm and gentle manner. So even if you're wrong about your view, and you state it with patience and humility, and don't become angry, especially when challenged, we're all still the better for that. Whether you're wrong or whether you're right. Proverbs 16:24 says, gracious words are like honeycomb, sweet to the soul. And then that proverb goes on, and it's health to the body. So do I believe humans should see the world and live as if there is no me? No. But in a way, yes. The West, especially here in America, we're so hung up on individual rights that we almost exclude everyone else in favor of ourselves. It's selfishness and pride. It's not what the Founding Fathers had in mind. It's never good for anyone. So I believe it's good that we don't constantly focus on ourselves. As the Apostle Paul once wrote, let nothing be done through selfish ambition or conceit, but in lowliness of mind let each esteem others better than himself. Let each of you look out not only for your own interests, but also for the interest of others. Which is exactly what Jesus taught. Now I got to ask you, deviate from my notes here for a second. Who could disagree with that? Talk about objectivity and objective reality. Who would disagree with that? I'm sure there's somebody out there that would, but most of us who are fairly normal, decent people. Let nothing be done through selfish ambition. This is the teaching of Jesus, by the way. Paul just put it more eloquently, I guess you could say, or put it more logically, so we would grasp it a little bit differently. But who would reject that? Lift up others, encourage others, love others as you would love yourself. This was the teaching of Jesus. So for people to come against Christianity, there's got to be something more going on, because Hardly no one would agree with that. Love others. Love others as you would love yourself. Do unto others as you would have done unto you. I mean, however, I think it's not realistic to entirely away with our identity. I don't just feel that way. I don't feel like it's not beneficial to do away with our identity. I think it's contrary to reality. We are individuals by birth, and that's a scientific statement as well as a biblical one. No two fingerprints are alike, so therefore, neither are two persons alike. That's bodily and I would say psychologically and spiritually. We're all created in our Maker's image. This is true. And that makes us all similar, yet somewhat, and somewhat of a collective, but none of us are the same. And thank God for that. How boring would that be, you know? Okay, so we're not just fields of energy dancing for a collective end. We're that, in a way, and much, much more. We're fields of energy with a divine purpose to be reconciled back to our Creator through the person of Jesus Christ by His grace. You may not agree with that conclusion. A lot of you won't. That's where I find this truth trail ends. John 17:3. This is eternal life. This is the end of your road. That you are to know your Creator, the one true God, and Jesus Christ whom He had sent. The reason I believe that is because all of the supernatural events surrounding Jesus' life, the Bible, the testimony of the Scriptures which testify of Christ, no one, no book, no piece of literature has ever out documented the evidence for the historicity of the Scriptures. It's never been outsold, outprinted, out circulated. The origins of the Bible, 40 different authors from 3 different continents, writing 66 books that perfectly agree. Some of you would say there's contradictions in the Bible, but I could refute that, and that's for another video. But it's just the sheer amount of force behind the Bible, and that's not even to mention all the lives that have been changed by it, including myself. So yeah, it's subjective, but it's also objective, I would say, in a very real way. So there it is. There's Jim Carrey Part 2. I hope I didn't ramble too much, but it was. I have fun watching these, and so I'm praying for. If you're a Christian, you're watching this, pray for Jim Carrey. I'm praying for Jim Carrey. Let's see the Lord get a hold of him. God bless you all.